Hello, my name is Daisy and I'm going to be talking about the biopsychosocial model. So the biopsychosocial model was first proposed by George L. Engel in 1977. As opposed to the biomedical approach where only biological factors play the main role, he developed this model in order to examine biological, psychological, and social factors affecting an individual to examine how and why disorders occur. To break down the biopsychosocial model, the biocomponents of this theory examines aspects of biology that influence health, such as brain changes, genetics, functions of the body organs, or motor systems. The psychocomponents examine thoughts, emotions, or behaviors, and the social components examine factors that can influence health, like interaction, status, or culture. All of these elements are connected, and it is important that we look at all of these factors in order to understand how an individual has this disorder and how it has occurred. These factors also need to be looked at individually and together because one factor can influence another. Pathway, the risk of depression in the population is 10%. However, having a relative with depression doubles the risk of the individual to 20 to 30%. One gene most linked to depression is serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that affects the physiological process and cognitive brain functions like moods or emotions. In 2003, a study was done by the National Institution of Mental Health, and they found that men who have heart disease, strokes, or cancer have high risk of depression and can have depressive symptoms. The medication taken for these illnesses can also have depressive side effects as well.
According to the biopsychosocial model, psychological factors can not only affect but also jeopardize the health of individuals. In the context of men and toxic masculinity, the psychological stress that men endure when trying to conform to masculine norms intensifies the risk for depression. It is important to understand that depression alone is not what leads to health issues. It is the continuous drinking and smoking that occurs when stress levels become too much to cope with. Society can also play a huge role in an individual's health. Depending on the environment and the social factors, individuals will try and modify their actions as well as their thoughts in order to try and fit in with society's expectations. In the context of men and toxic masculinity, the social pathway helps us understand how men easily fall victims of depression when desperately trying to fit into society's expectations. Oftentimes, men are expected to restrict their emotions, they must demonstrate their toughness and avoid perceiving as feminine. In turn, these men have difficulties expressing their emotions, forming healthy relationships, thus increasing their vulnerability to depression.
Talking about depression, stress among men, and toxic masculinity, some interventions can be changing our expectations and stopping these negative expressions of emotions in order to adapt, build, and reinforce healthy emotional experiences. We also need to normalize that crying is a normal human expression and men experience them as well. Men need to start being honest about their depression experiences and seek help, such as individual or group psychotherapy, anger management courses to help manage pain, interventions, or medication.